And we're live from City Hall Chamber.
Madam Clerk, ready?
Yes, we are ready.
Okay. All right, I would like to call this meeting to order. At this time, I would like to acknowledge that we meet on the traditional land of Treaty 6 territory and acknowledge the diverse indigenous peoples whose ancestors' footsteps have marked this territory for centuries, such as Cree, Dene, Sotu, Blackfoot, and Kora Sioux, as well as Métis and Inuit, and now settlers from around the world. I will do a roll call of council members. Councillor Wright. Councillor Wright. We see you, Councillor Wright. Can you say you were in the meeting, Councillor Wright? Oh.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Thank you. Councillor Knack.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Principe.
Hello.
Councillor Stevenson.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Paquette.
Hello.
Councillor Tang.
Hello.
Councillor Hamilton. Councillor Rutherford.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Salvador.
Good afternoon.
Councillor Cartmel. Good afternoon. Councillor Rice.
Good afternoon.
And Councillor Jens.
Good morning.
All right. Good morning. I just want to know if I'm paying attention. Adoption of the agenda. Councillor Rutherford Councillor Rutherford, can you do that?
I move the adoption of the agenda with the recommendation that the May 27th, 2022 City Council non-regular meeting agenda be adopted with the following changes. The additions of 6.2, Women's Advocacy Voice of Edmonton Committee 2021 Annual Report and 2022 Work Plan, and item 6.3, City of Edmonton Youth Council 2021 Annual Report and 2022 Work Plan.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Please vote. Yes.
I'm a yes.
I'm a yes as well.
I'm a yes. Councillor Paquette, we're just missing your vote.
We're just doing this manually then? I'm a yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Display the votes, please.
We have all the votes.
Yeah, display the votes, please. That is carried. Protocol items, seeing none. Select items for debate. Who would like to select all of them for debate? 6.1, 6.2, 6.3. Let's see. Councillor, I'll select all three. Okay, all 6.1, 6.2, 6.3.
Second.
Thank you, Councillor Wright. Please vote. Oh, we don't, what are we talking about? It's all day, long day. We don't have to. Okay. Vote on reports not selected for debate are none. Request to speak are none. Time specific are none. Vote on bylaws not selected for debate, none. Councillor inquiries, none. Report to be dealt later on. No. Okay, 6.1. That's our first item, right? we go into our item 6.1. Am I right, Madam
That is
Clerk?
correct, yes.
All right, okay, which is Anti-Racism Advisory Committee 2021 Annual Report and 2022 Work Plan. We have Chair Shalini Sinha with us, so over to you.
Thank you very much, Your Worship, Mayor, and all the councillors here. Thank you so much. I'm here to present the 2021 annual report from the Anti-Racism Advisory Committee and the 2022 work plan. So I don't have a prepared presentation. We've been in front of council a number of times, so I'll give you an overview. You're aware of our mandate, but for the members of the public who may be watching and who aren't aware, our mandate is to raise awareness and catalyze action on racism and anti-racism in Edmonton and provide advice to council regarding community perspectives on issues relating to racism, including but not limited to diversity, discrimination, hate and extremism, racial equity, anti-Black racism, racism against Indigenous people, xenophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and the lived experiences of people of color. Our committee has been very active, as you're aware, and we're very grateful for the opportunity to be part of this committee and to participate in council processes and to bring that voice forward. I want to thank the previous council members who were our sponsors in the year of 2021, Councillor Scott McKean and Councillor Mobanga. And I want to appreciate the new councillors who are our sponsors in this coming year, Councillor Paquette and Councillor Rutherford. We had quite a few achievements. We are 2 years old, minus that we had been suspended for a quarter when we first started during COVID. So in just under 2 years, or in a year and 3 quarters, say, we have achieved quite a lot. And in 2021, our main achievement was the Anti-Racism Grants Program, the original project-based grants program. We were also visible in the community at events, at grassroots events, listening to members, community members bringing those voices forward. We had visibility in the media on several issues, and we worked hard to create collaboration across committees and are continuing to do that. We convened an event, a community event, to look at the Safer for All report. We received presentations, and mostly we went out to the community to listen and to amplify that voice. And we did a lot of work on our internal structure. So the 2022 work plan, the focus is around continuing to establish ourselves. We're just forming our structures. We would like to do a lot more in around our communications, in particular with our communities and with Edmonton in general. They understand that we're here. They understand what anti-racism is, that they can see that there's a route to have their voice heard, and to continue to build capacity or through awareness and that voice to our communities. We'll also be working on the anti-racism strategy, of course, and the community safety and well-being. It's not in this report here because things with our committee move quite fast, as you can imagine, as things come up in council. And so we're also working on that 1.174 million in funding, and we've been working on devising a program around that we've been discussing with our internal subcommittee and at our main members meetings. And we're coming to the second round of the grants program. And this year also saw, 2021 also saw the realization of remuneration for civic engagement committees and boards, which we had fought for on an equity basis, and that became implemented last year. So I think, is there anything else for me to raise there? I think with that, I will yield my time and go to questions.
Thank you so much for the presentation and all the work that you, Shalini, and everyone else on the advisory committee has been doing. You've been doing a lot of heavy lifting over the last number of months that I have seen the work you have been doing. So thank you so much for that. All right, questions to council members? Councillor Tang.
Great, thank you so much, Shalini, for that presentation. I was wondering about two things. One, what is your estimated timeline for the grants for this year?
For both grant programs. So for the project-based grant funding, the 300,000, it was a little late last year because we were just forming it, and we're able to bring that forward earlier. So some of the review and recommendations that we made some slight adjustments to it, but including that we would announce it earlier. So I'm not sure of the timelines. I might go to Mike on that, but I think we could be announcing it, say, in June or near the end of June, and have a longer period of time when people can apply for it, and then do reviews in August, I believe. With the community safety 1.174 million, we're just finishing the process to create the structure around it. The structure looks like it's going to be inviting those letters of intent that, and Mike again can give us the correct terminology around this, but we're looking to finalize the process that we have been building around it by the end of June. We'll be talking about it at our next meeting. And with that communication going out to community in July, by the end of June, early July. And that is going to a request for proposals process. So different to an application process, a request for proposals process. And so I think the aim with that, but I'm going to ask Mike to speak to that to clarify, but the aim for that is that request for proposals around July, and then receiving proposals, reviewing them, and then the further applications and the ones we want to move with in around August, and that we'd be looking to be moving that money in around October, I think September, October. Is that right, Mike?
Thanks, Madam Chair, and yeah, you are correct.
So, sorry, I'm actually quite satisfied with that timeline, and I have a few more questions that I want to get through. No, appreciate that. So it sounds like lots will be deployed over the summertime. And then what's your timeline for evaluating, say, the grant program from last year? Is that because I didn't see that in the list?
Yeah, so the advice that we have from experience with admin is it takes a few years to generate the data to evaluate the program. So we're still in the process with the first year of projects doing their, delivering in the first year. And so we're going to roll out the second year. So we're expecting, so we've done some review and some tweaking on it, but we're expecting to do a stronger evaluation in the third year.
Awesome, thank you. And then finally, I'm just curious, just in terms of that bullet around implementation of the anti-racism strategy, have you started some of that internal discussions around that transition from, or what that might look like between ARAC and the arm length body?
We started to have initial conversations and within ARAC, but we really do need a container around that, a structure that helps to move some of the elements of the anti-racism strategy forward. So, we heard from admin on that recently. I think just a few weeks ago, we heard from them on that. They have put together a proposal on the next steps in implementing that. We're kind of talking about that. We want to be involved from the beginning in the collaborative process. We're currently involved on an informing basis, and it's moving to a direction. So we're currently trying to have conversations around how the strategy will be implemented. And that drives this conversation. In that has to be this interaction model between ARAC and the independent body.
Gotcha, thank you. And just my last one, I've noticed you mentioned the collaborating opportunity with other advisory committees. Do you have any sort of initiatives or policy that's specifically that we can, keep an eye on, that's potential for those opportunities?
I don't think we've drafted formal policies, but we have noticed that it works better if we have lines of communication open. So we have a lot of communication with Youth Council, in particular with the policy subcommittee and the anti-racism initiative. As from chair to chair, when we meet at training, we've been meeting each other. And so I'm just starting to suggest and organize maybe a quarterly, there's interest in a quarterly chairs, vice chairs meeting to communicate
Yeah.
and to share information, and possibly to have some joint subcommittees between climate and ARAC and other ways.
No, that sounds great. I meant actually specific policy like vehicle for hire, and in this last round, the anti-racism strategy. But I'm also out of time, so thank you.
Councillor
Thank you for all
Tang.
those answers.
Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very quick questions. The first one is our Edmonton, and we actually has around 70 ethnic groups, and for some like the areas, and we heard, and then even like people are not aware of, we have like anti-racism committee and this great work in place to support them. And then for 2022 work plan, do you have a specific focus and how to increase that awareness and for people to, for the community to participate in this anti-racism important work?
Thank you for the question. I think a lot of our members themselves are community members, and so that's the first point of what we can do is be aware. I know many of our members spend time making connections with other community groups and making them aware, and so we do that through our personal network. I think we certainly are aware that there's a need for more, and I believe the Social Diversity Department did a communications analysis and strategy across the equity-seeking groups to help support this. There is some support and infrastructure that's needed from admin. I don't think it can come reliant on the volunteer work for us to keep, for that responsibility to just be with us. So I think a lot more needs to be done, and we need to think about how to make that happen.
Okay. For 2022 work plan, and then, so I didn't see the annual reports attached here, and then I just look at the highlight points here. So developing the anti-racism strategy and working on the implementation of anti-racism strategy and the Safer for All reports. I'm a little bit confused, and for the 2022 plan, you are doing these 3 actions at the same time, and how this link back to our new community safety and well-being strategy? Because so it's my understanding Safer for All Safer for All strategy, that's his old strategy back to 2020.
Yes, so this report was done in January. So we were anticipating our work plan for 2022, which included those pieces. They were based on the June or July of 2021 motion for an implementation report on Safer for All in collaborative decision-making with us. And so that's why that is there, and that's our intention. And then there was the inaugural motion for collaborative decision-making with us for the anti-racism strategy. We worked very hard on the anti-racism strategy. We were told that we were regularly told that the collaborative work on the Safety for All report and that community safety and well-being strategy would happen after that work. However, that's work that admin took forward and we haven't been involved with yet in a collaborative way, but it is part of our mandate and on our agenda. And so we're continuing to try and be part of that work. And that's part of what we do is bring an anti-racism perspective from community. We look to do things differently. So we're constantly bringing that voice to administration on how to do things differently.
Is that fair to say? And for the 2022 work plan, your focus is developing the anti-racism strategy and working on the implementation at the same time. So how can you?
No,
can
not
you,
at the same time.
But this is reflected in the report.
Well, the work on the anti-racism strategy happened in December, January, February. We went to council, so that's part of this year. That was in the work plan, and we did that work. Now there's more months in the year, and the work is on the implementation of that.
So 2022 is more focused on the implementation piece.
I believe this is actually still part of 2022. So now we have the strategy, so that was the work, and then now we're looking at the implementation of that strategy in this year.
Okay, so 2022 is not developing, is implementation. I just want to get it clarified because the report in front of me just make me feel confused, and how this developing and implementation could be same year.
What I
Okay.
understand is it's
Yeah.
the annual report for 2021 and it's the work plan for 2022. Maybe Mike can help clarify.
Okay, thank you.
Mike, any clarification?
No, I think it's a great question, and all of these reports for the advisory committees have a little bit of a time lag, Councillor Rice, and so by the time that the report comes forward, we're already in the middle of 2022, and so it's just the case of when the reports based on agenda review are able to get into council. So this is quite natural. That happens with many of our advisory committees. You'll be even more confused when you get to the youth council because they also have a different time lag because they go from school year beginning of September until August 31st. So things differ just a little bit, but you picked up on it, you're right, and the explanation is just when things reports get completed and when reports go forward to City Council. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. So that concludes the questions. Thank you so much, Shalini. And this is receiving for information, right? Right.
I can move it. Yeah.
Can I, if you don't mind, Councillor Rice, can I go to the council members on the committee to move it? Yeah, okay, thank you. Councillor Rutherford?
I move that the May 27th, 2022 Office of the City Clerk Report, OCC 00974, be received for information.
Thank you, Councillor. Second by Councillor Paquette. Good. We have a motion on the floor. Please vote. Are you voting now?
In favor.
Yes, Madam Clerk.
Counselor Stevenson?
Sorry, it's not coming up. I'm a yes.
We have all the votes.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. All right, our next item is let me close this. Is the Women's Advisory Voice of Edmonton Committee 2021 Annual Report and 2022 Work Plan. We have Vice Chair, right? Vice Chair Fanmi Omole?
Yes, Fumi Omole.
Amiole, here you are. Thank
Hello.
you so much. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Okay, over Chair, I'll pass on the proceedings to you for your presentation.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Fumi Omole, and I'm the newly appointed chair for WAVE. Also, it's really great to be here in person. I took the opportunity as it was offered. So thank you for the opportunity to present and to keep you up to date with WAVE and the issues that matter to us. On your screen, you have some faces of WAVE, including the great folks from City Admin that make sure that our work is possible. I would like to start with some of our highlights. In the past year, we experienced some change in leadership. We had Hersharan Sandhu, our former chair, retire from the board, and we had Angelica Madsen become chair for some time. During their term, they were dedicated and held WAVE together during a very difficult time of the pandemic. We had great success collaborating with other committees to present the Vehicle for Hire presentation to ensure that this service is safer for all. Within the committee, we voted to implement an internal policy for code of conduct in keeping with the city's lead. We also voted to have a formal leave of absence process and an attendance policy to support our members to navigate their capacity. We had the opportunity to consult with the Snow and Ice Service Project, the Indigenous Relations Office, Affordable Housing Needs Assessment. We also met with Salima at the city to begin the consultation for community safety and well-being. We're looking forward to expanding on that framework as we see the need for it. In the community, we engaged with Intersectional Edmonton, Skirts of Fire, the Africa Center, Parity YEG, and we will be working closely with them to facilitate their upcoming policy competition. This term, we had significant turnover, which speaks to our need for closer capacity management. As a result, we had a robust recruitment process. We would like to use this opportunity to thank you for sharing our ads, as we had 53 applicants, and they were all great. We're looking forward to having up to 20 members as approved by Council. We will be welcoming up to 12 new members and 1 returning member. We had in-depth strategic planning sessions to focus the work that we do and make sure we are as effective as possible. Our vision is to help build an equitable city through advocacy, research, and community building. And this has never been more important as we recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. To help us achieve this goal, this term we set up 4 subcommittees. The internal subcommittee to foster interpersonal relationships with our members and manage our soon-to-come volunteer program. The projects committee to take on projects like Parity YEG policy competition. The reconciliation and allyship subcommittee to help lead the reconciliation and allyship work for all of WAVE. And the policy subcommittee to continue our policy-based initiatives. Looking ahead, we will continue to make policy advocacy, anti-racism and equity, reconciliation and allyship, collaboration with other city committees, community engagement, and working with women and people of diverse gender experience, the cornerstone of all that we do. Thank you for your continued support, and I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the work and the work of other members have been doing. All right, questions, colleagues? Just give me one. Here you go. Here we go. Councillor Rice?
I don't have questions. I just want to say a few words regarding this organization,
Yeah, go ahead.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
So WAVE actually, as our Edmontonians Women and Advocates Voice Committee, they did great job and to implement some mission and vision identified in the process. So I attended meetings and I understand that some projects are going. So they're actually very good and well organized for the project team submitted and to do that. I just want to say, and then as a woman, and then in our community, and in our community, and specifically, our new council has 8 women leaderships here, and then I think our city really demonstrates, and we support our women, advocate our voice. And then I just want to say that, and if there is no question, I'm happy to move and receive as information.
Can you move for receive for information as a member of the committee?
Yeah, I can. I just want to give opportunity to my colleagues if there are any questions.
I don't see any questions. So, oh, here you go, Councillor Tang.
Sorry, I just want to, just a quick question around, noticing that, thank you very much for the presentation. Excited that you're, new chair and lots of new members. Recognizing reconciliation is such a, strong theme. How do you feel about, do you feel that there is, do we have Indigenous representation on WAVE, and how do you, work to build bridges if there isn't any, and can you just shed some perspective on that?
Thank you. That's a really great question, and it is one that we actively look to engage in and make sure that we're doing consciously. So we do have some Indigenous representation on the board. We have a member of city staff who identifies as Indigenous, and we also have 2 board members who identify as Indigenous as well. Beyond that, part of the work that we do is to engage elders in the community, to engage organizations as well, and any other opportunities that we might have, including training sessions that help us to do the work properly and to have proper representation on the board.
Thank you so much, and that's great to hear. And I'm also wondering, this past year, I know your committee, your policy committee worked really hard on specific things like vehicle for hire. What's on the docket? Any specific policy? And I'm sorry if it's in the report, I missed it. But if you, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, some of the things that we are really looking forward to working on closely with the city would be the community safety and well-being. We have had the opportunity to introduce the idea, but not to really flesh out the details. There's some pieces, the pillars are available, but there are pieces that are missing. We don't see a lot of representation for people with diverse gender experience. That's something we really want to bring to the forefront, as we believe that this should be within our purview of what we do at WAVE, and also to create those safe spaces in ways that are actually beneficial to the people of Edmonton.
I just have one last question. No, that's good to hear, and I guess similar to a question I asked for the previous chair, how do you see those opportunities collaborating with other advisory committees? And have you identified some of those opportunities already?
Yes, we have. Shalini alluded to the meetings. They're informal at this time that we have agreed to start to have with other committees to make sure that we're sharing information and we are collaborating as necessary. We're looking to move that into a more formal setting, to have meeting times set up so that we can make sure that collaboration work goes forward. So that's what we have for now.
Yeah, and I like that structure, so thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much once again, particularly your work. Just want to reiterate Councillor Tang's comments on the vehicle for hire. Thank you for that. Councillor Wright.
Hi, I just had a quick question on the Camp Inspire. I was just wondering if you could maybe sort of give me a little more idea of how many participants and what the outcomes were. And I don't see it on the strategic plan going forward. Is there any thought that it might come forward again?
Yes, definitely. That was one of the projects that we worked on in the last year. I didn't quite expand on it, but it was very successful. I don't have the exact number of applicants that they ended up having, but because we were able to amplify their voice through our social media networks, they had quite a number of applicants participate, and they had also diverse folks participate as well. So people of color, people of diverse gender experience as well, participate in the last one. So we are looking forward to them having it again this year or maybe even next year, and we're looking forward to partnering with them and amplifying that program again.
And any idea, were there any that went on to apply to Edmonton Fire Service?
Sadly, no. I don't have that report. I'm not sure if we've been able to increase the number of female firefighters in the city, but I know that that's something that they're really looking forward to doing.
We'll inspire them a bit more with the next round, right?
Yes, we will.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. That concludes all the questions. And Councillor Rice, can you put the motion on the floor, or can you move the motion on the floor? Put the motion on the floor, sorry.
I moved the Women Advocacy Voice Committee's report and from Office of the City Clerk and be received for information.
Thank you so much. Need a seconder? Councillor Knack. Thank you. Please vote.
We have all the votes.
Display the votes, please. That is carried. Okay, now we are going into our next item, City of Edmonton Youth Council 2021 Annual Report and 2022 Work Plan, and we have Achutia Surkanti, Chair of the City of Edmonton Youth Council, virtually joining us, right? Okay. Over to you for a presentation.
Thank you so much. I'll just wait until the presentation is up. Okay. Thank you so much for having me here, and good afternoon. I'm so excited to present. My name is Achupa. Slide. Okay, so we're in a little bit of a different situation this year because our elected chair, Cherry Chen, actually had to take a leave of absence, so I'm interim chair, and I have with me our interim vice chair, Ryan Jack. Slide. Okay, so what is CUIC? Slide. Our mission is to educate and empower youth in order to provide meaningful input and to take action on local issues and municipal politics. So we have 3 different subcommittees that work to contribute to this mission, and those are projects, policy, and internal. I'll talk a little bit more about what each of these subcommittees are doing a little bit later. Slide. So in Edmonton, we have over 100,000 youth, and we try our best to represent all these different varying populations that we have in our council. We've actually conducted a demographic survey report at the beginning of this term, and we found that we do have several gaps in our representation, most notably in terms of location. Our youth from the north side are underrepresented, and we also don't have any youth that are Indigenous to Canada. We have collaborated with the Enoch Cree Youth Council in order to gain a little bit of this perspective, but in terms of actually changing our membership, our demographic survey team has worked to bridge these gaps by changing the recruitment process a little bit. Slide. So in terms of where we started, slide. We held a strategic planning meeting earlier this term, so that would have been in October, and we've created some values and priorities that we wanted to focus on for this term, and that's attached in a document. Slide. And then in terms of where we are now, slide. We have 96 members on Youth Council. This is the largest Youth Council that has ever been, and we're expecting that to continue to grow. We've had school visits throughout this year. They've all been virtual. And we also have 10 ongoing initiatives in the various subcommittees. And speaking of subcommittees, we have our policy subcommittee, and the 2 main initiatives that they're working on involve social equity and urban planning. Slide. And then in terms of projects, we have projects is our largest subcommittee. So they have various initiatives, including the Sexual Violence and Awareness Art Night and their training initiative. Slide. And then last but not least, we don't have a meeting photo in the internal subcommittee, but they've done a lot of work in terms of codifying our elections and doing school visits. And I've talked about the demographic survey team. They've done a lot of work in terms of making sure that we are well represented on CUIC. Slide. So continuity is really difficult on CUIC because of our 1-term structure. And so policy has actually done a really good job of managing to have multi-term initiatives. And so with the community safety and well-being, this is a continuation of the response that we had last year. And the social equity team has really worked really hard to provide youth input in this area. And with the city's anti-racism strategy, we've collaborated with ARAC, with the city. We've had the city manager come into our General Assembly meetings to gain input from us. And so they've done a lot of really great work there. And then our other main team is the urban planning team, and they've done a survey that reached over 170 youth. And they've also spoken and collaborated with various organizations, and they're planning on bringing a report to council in June. Slide. Okay, so this is what we have upcoming for the remainder of the term. Slide. We have several really exciting events. I just want to point out that our revamped VCM applications are released today. So that's really exciting, and it's something that we would love if you guys would be able to promote to your wards. And then in terms of June and July, we're going to be wrapping up all of our initiatives and preparing to continue into the next term when we get there in September. Slide. Okay, so in terms of getting involved, You can come to our events and also our General Assembly meetings. Councillor Salvador and Councillor Jans attend all of our meetings, but we welcome any councillors that want to attend. Our members are always really excited to see new faces. They were so stoked to have Mayor Sohi at our meeting in February. You can also engage with us with the work that we do or invite us to be part of any collaborations with other groups. And then also inviting your wards to apply for the voting committee member positions. Like I said, those applications open today, and I know the demographics team has worked really hard on ensuring that they're more inclusive. So I really want to emphasize that. That's the end of my presentation, and I can take any questions now.
Thank you so much, and thank you as well for the work you and all the young people doing on this committee. I have interacted with you a number of times. Beautiful work. All right, council colleagues, just here we go. Yeah, just here. It's not appearing. Karen's online?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Mine is slow. Councillor Principe, here you go.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say, as the mayor said, great job. It's really nice to see the youth involved. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I will share with my community. I am a North Side councillor, so I would love to share this with my community. Thank you. And also, I would love to attend the meetings, but if you could send out invitation to me and let me know when the meetings are, I would love to attend. And if at all possible, yeah, I would love to be there and support your mission, because I think it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you so much. Our meetings are the first Wednesday of every month, and we have meetings for June and July, and then that's the end of our term, but you're welcome to come to any of those, and I'll be sure to send out an invitation, and I'll talk to Mike and ensure that that gets to you. Thank you so much for...
Well, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Principe. Councillor Stevenson.
Yeah, I just want to echo my thanks for all the great work that you do. It's really exciting to hear about. And I just want to build on, the work that you've already been doing around the community safety and well-being response. Just wondering if you see a large role for your group in helping to support that work moving forward, just recognizing a lot of the preventative work that can happen with youth.
Yeah, I mean, this is an area that I think that we've been really involved in. I mean, we have a really dedicated team to the community safety and well-being response, and we've drafted our recommendations, and now we're collaborating in the implementation and all of that. And this is definitely an area that I think that youth are interested in. Youth on the council are interested in continuing, and into our next term, we have members that are returning that have worked on this initiative, and we're hoping that it continues into the next term, and we're hoping to continue collaborating with council in this area.
Great. Yeah, I think there could be real scope in terms of having almost a parallel youth strategy under the 7 pillars. So really look forward to that continued work, and thank you so much for your focus on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stevenson. Councillor Rice.
I just want to say, and this youth council's work, and really impressive. And then specifically how you present the work, and then that is very good. I just want to give that comment first. And also I would like to say, and youth, specific youth leadership is actually the future of society. And I really focus on and then how we can engage and involve our youth and to our community and to our society, and then bring that opportunity and to our youth and practice, and also their contributions, their demonstrate that hope and for our community as well. I just want to echo my colleague Councillor Principe's comments, and I'm more than happy to support and involve your event as well. And feel free and then to send the invitation and to councillors, and I believe many of my colleagues will support that and will attend, and then myself as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Rice. Councillor Salvador?
Yeah, thank you. No questions, Mr. Mayor, but would be happy to say a few words and move receipt of information.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Great, wonderful.
So,
Oh,
Councillor
unless-
Tang, Councillor Tang? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Councillor Tang.
Sure, thank you. I think you touched on this about just reformatting your recruitment strategy to ensure a more diverse representation. I'm wondering if you can just expand that a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay, so some of the things that we've done, some of the issues that we saw with the recruitment process as it was is it tends to be very complex. There are really long written word responses that we need to have, and there are all these things that a lot of youth don't have access to. Like many youth don't know how to create a resume, or they don't have access to resources in order to create all the things that you needed for this application. It was a very elaborate application, and one of the things that we've done is just simplified it in terms of the questions, reduced the word limits, and made the questions a little bit more clear in order to be a little bit more inclusive. And then in terms of the shortlisting process, we're currently in the process of making sure that we are being inclusive in terms of the shortlisting, and we're working on a process, and we're working on a panel in order to ensure that different people have their opinions heard in terms of who should be on council. And we also are hoping to have our chair, or I guess myself, be present for the council appointment process for the interviews. And so those are just kind of various ways that we're kind of trying to improve upon the recruitment process. And we actually have our recruitment, it's been released, so you can look at the recruitment profile as well to give you a little bit more in-depth information. And our application is there too, in case you want to look at more specifically at the changes that we've made it.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if that translates into, indeed more diverse representation, and perhaps there's lessons that can be, borrowed for other advisory committees to increase that representation. And I'm just curious, so you represent age 10 to 24. Do you have many members kind of towards that younger age group demographic?
We're from 13 to 23.
Wow.
I think the census number was 10 to 24, but our council is 13 to 23. And we do actually have a lot of representation from the younger end. I actually joined when I was 14.
Wow.
And so we're actually, we have more and more percentage of our demographics is actually getting younger and younger. So it's really great to see in terms of young people coming out and learning that they have this opportunity to be leaders. And it's really inspiring to see as someone that's on executive. And I mean, I'm 16, so I'm actually on the younger end of the age spectrum as well. So that's where we're at in terms of the representation age-wise.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting to hear. So I'm really glad. And do you feel everyone is able to also form a connection with your school community to kind of share some of, and then, I don't know, I'm wondering how that works.
We do have our school visits initiative. So a lot of members actually volunteer to kind of do the school presentation for their school. And from there, we can get collaboration from the schools. In the past, we've actually had more interactive visits in which we kind of gathered input for the city plan and those types of things, or for the bus transit routes, that kind of thing. And it's been interactive. So we've been telling them about the opportunity of youth council, and we're also gaining some input as to what we can do on youth council. So we try our best with those presentations. With them being virtual, we've been a little bit more restricted, but we definitely try to engage with schools as much as we can. We're really lucky in that as youth, the easiest way to kind of collaborate with youth is to go to their schools. That's because that's what they all are. And we're really lucky, and we try our best to utilize that to the best of our abilities.
Well, if any of your members are ever in a school, doing a school initiative in Wargaihio in the Southeast, I would love to join and contribute. Thank you so much. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. You're actually my counselor, so if I ever present at a school in my ward, then I'll be sure to tell you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll go to Council Salvador to move the report.
Yeah, thanks so much. So happy to move that the May 27th, 2022 Office of the City Clerk Report, OCC 00971, be received for information.
Need a seconder, Councillor Jens. You're also the member.
So moved.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
So seconded.
If I may, Mayor Sohi, just say a few
Sure.
words. Okay,
Yeah,
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 great. Well, Ashita and Ryan, thanks so much for being with us today. Nice to see you. Really appreciated the presentation, and just wanted to take a minute to thank you for your service on Youth Council. I feel quite grateful that I get to be one of two of your council reps, and I'm constantly learning every time I attend a meeting from everyone on CUIC. I also think that having CUIC at the table as part of the delegation for our anti-racism conversation was really, really important. I thought that added a whole additional layer and dimension that I think we need to be able to integrate into a lot more conversations that we have here around the council table. So thank you for that. And really, I just feel like you're helping cultivate sort of the next generation of leaders here in our city and helping us build that city that's going to have a lasting impact. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Salvador. Sorry, Councillor Paquette. Councillor Salvador has already closed on this item.
Ouch. Okay, that's good. So I won't close. I'll just say thank you to all the committees.
That was intro. That was closing on the.
Could be an introduction.
Okay, I'll take it that way then. Councillor Paquette, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. No, I just wanted to say thank you to all the committees for coming out and for all the work people do. I mean, this is tough work and it's city building work, and we're so appreciative. It's so important to have these voices in the city of Edmonton. And I did have one question. In that picture with Councillor Knack in it, was he actually describing the finer points of the new Elden Ring video game? Because that's what it looked like to me. You don't have to answer that. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Salvador.
I got to see. Oh, here you go. I see that now.
I think I was describing how my nose is giant. Like giant. It took up half the screen. Did you see that picture?
All right. Councillor Salvador, that's it, right?
That's all. Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Now it's closed. Now the item is closed. All right, please vote.
That's why I wear a mask all the time now. I can hide my nose.
In favor.
In favor? Okay,
We have all the votes.
good. That is, display the votes, please. That's carried. I hope all meetings are fun like this. It's all city clerk.
This specific one or this whole week?
This specific one. This meeting. I said. I just said these meetings. This meeting. All right. So that concludes our agenda. No motions pending. Notice of motions. Notice of motions. The motions are customary notice. Seeing none. Adjourned.